We present InterHandGen, two-hand interaction generation via cascaded reverse diffusion. In a nutshell, InterHandGen is a novel framework that effectively learns the generative prior of interacting two hands with or without an additional object. Our diffusion-based prior can be easily incorporated into any optimization or learning methods to reduce ambiguity in an ill-posed setup. We discuss our motivation in more detail. While various methods have been proposed mainly for monocular two-hand reconstruction, two-hand interaction generation remains underexplored. Inspired by the other domains that leverage a strong prior for robust pose estimation, we aim to build an expressive prior for two-hand interaction. However, directly adapting these existing generation methods for two-hand interaction leads to suboptimal results. Compared to hand-object interaction that involves a rigid object, two hands lead to significantly more complex interactions due to the higher degree of freedom. Also, while human-to-human body interaction is typically constrained on a shared ground plane, each joint of two hands has a full 6 degrees of freedom to allow more diverse interactions. To address this issue, we propose a novel framework to effectively learn the distribution of two interacting hands. Two-hand interaction has high data complexity, caused by the combination of two hands with diverse articulations. To reduce the complexity of each generation target, our key idea is to reformulate the joint two-hand distribution into the unconditional single-hand distribution, and the single-hand distribution conditional to the other hand. While this is a very simple idea, we have empirically observed significant performance improvement through this reformulation. This formulation can also be easily extended to object-conditional two-hand interaction generation, by simply adding the global object condition to each of the distribution terms. Now, how can we effectively train our diffusion model to learn these decomposed hand distributions? One straightforward approach is to separately train one unconditional and one conditional diffusion networks. However, there is conceptual redundancy embedded in both data distributions, which allows room for a more effective method to jointly learn these distributions using a single diffusion network. We first convert each single-hand distribution in the shared right-hand parameter domain based on Mano model. Mano leverages the symmetry between the left and right hands, where one side of hand is modeled by horizontally flipping the model shape space of another side of hand. Once we have normalized the hand side of the generation target, we jointly learn the unconditional and conditional distributions using conditioning dropout, inspired by the classifier-free diffusion guidance technique. During training, we randomly drop out the conditioning hand parameter and feed a null vector to model unconditional hand distribution, while it models conditional distribution when the conditioning hand is not dropped out. Note that we use DDPM to train our diffusion network. During inference, we perform cascaded sampling where one hand is sampled unconditionally, and another hand is sampled conditionally to the previously sampled hand. For the conditional sampling, we apply classifier-free guidance to achieve better trade-off between fidelity and diversity. We also apply anti-penetration guidance, where we refine the generated hand towards the negative gradient direction of the penetration loss at each denoising step. In experiments, we establish a rigorous evaluation protocol of two-hand synthesis with or without an object, where R significantly outperforms baseline generative models in terms of plausibility and diversity. Our prior captures diverse and plausible two-hand interactions. We also show that fine-tuning an off-the-shelf model using our prior via score distillation sampling-like loss achieves new state-of-the-art accuracy in the wild two-hand shape reconstruction. Incorporating our prior leads to more plausible two-hand reconstructions. Thank you for listening, and please visit our website for more information about our work.